honestly. I'm trying to get better myself, you know?
Guys, Caleb and Tammy have only been husband and wife since November, but it seems like everything is starting to fall apart for them already.
The more we talked and hung out and whatever, the more stress I was under.
Now, allegedly, they've been arguing so much lately that there might not be much hope for them left, and some people are starting to wonder if the couple is even still married. And guys, we just got a huge hint pointing to them being done once and for all, and this is really only the beginning of the drama going on with these two. So even though Tammy and Caleb's wedding only just aired on 1000 Pound Sisters, so much has already changed since their big day. I mean, first of all, we just got news that Tammy has changed her TikTok name, and it's the biggest sign that things are over. So her name has been Tammy Willingham on there ever since they got married, and she just changed it back to her maiden name, Tammy Slayton, which you really only do if you're getting divorced, right? I mean, I think we can all agree that if they are getting divorced, it's not exactly shocking, and they did seem pretty doomed from the start, and Tammy definitely deserves the best, and he just doesn't seem to be the best fit for her, and there's just something off with him in my opinion, but hopefully I'm wrong and everything is fine with them. But apparently they've been having a ton of issues that led to her TikTok name change. So according to the US Sun, an inside source revealed that Tammy is extremely frustrated with Caleb right now, and in February she left the weight loss rehab center where she and Caleb had spent all of their time together, and that's when things took an unexpected turn for the worst. Supposedly, the couple had a plan in place to avoid being hundreds of miles apart from each other, but it just hasn't worked out at all, and what's actually happened since Tammy left is just insane. So Tammy's hometown of Dixon, Kentucky is a 7-hour drive from the Ohio Rehab Center, and that's why Caleb was originally planning to transfer to a facility that's only 25 miles from Tammy's house, which honestly is still pretty far considering that Tammy can't even drive, but nothing seems to be going according to plan, because now the possibility of Caleb actually transferring is like super uncertain, and everything seems to be up in the air and is completely tearing them apart. And reportedly Caleb knew that he was supposed to work out the transfer process with his insurance company, but from what we've heard, he has not followed through on this, and not by a mile. And the insider claimed that Caleb hasn't even made an effort to start figuring out the situation with his insurance company, which is why Tammy is so angry. And I can't lie, I mean, this is not a good sign at all. And Tammy and Caleb's struggles obviously didn't just start overnight out of nowhere, because the source also explained that at first Tammy was just sad about being away from her husband, but before long everything started to come crashing down when Tammy realized that being near each other seemingly wasn't important to Caleb, and she was really hurt and upset. And to tell you the truth, I think a lot of people would feel the same way, and if Caleb can't be bothered to take the first step to be closer to his wife, what does that say about their future? And they've allegedly been fighting so much lately, and it's hard to tell if they're even still together. And this is the most unbelievable part, is that Tammy and Caleb are both pretty active on social media, but they're almost never mentioning or tagging each other. The only exception is Caleb's Instagram, which only has one post, but you're not going to guess what Tammy has been sharing online, because although Caleb has a picture of the couple from their wedding day on his Instagram, it's not clear proof that they're still doing well, especially since one of Tammy's recent TikToks revealed her surprisingly flirty interaction with a guy that is not Caleb. You guys, as crazy as Tammy being flirted with in her TikToks was, I could barely believe it when I saw the caption. So she tagged the mystery man and even called him a bad boy, and the video was apparently from when Tammy was still in the rehab center, but still, I wonder what made her decide to post it now when her marriage is reportedly in not a great place. But that's not the only social media clue about how she and Caleb are doing, and you'll never guess what's next, because on Facebook, both Tammy and Caleb's profile stated that they're married to each other, but aside from a wedding photo from November, Caleb doesn't seem to share much about his wife. And what Tammy has posted on her account is just puzzling. So astonishingly, Tammy doesn't appear to have a single picture of Caleb on her Facebook. And this is obviously not because it could be an issue with TLC since their wedding episode is already out there. So I wonder if Tammy and Caleb have been keeping quiet on social media about each other because of how intense their marital problems are. I mean, maybe they're actually trying to prevent a huge secret from being exposed. I don't really know. And if Tammy and Caleb have already called it quits, I'm sure TLC would want any spoilers about the relationship to stay under wraps. But that's not all, because there are quite a few reasons why some people doubt that the couple's marriage can stand the test of time. And these are seriously unreal, you guys. So since the very beginning of Caleb and Tammy's relationship, there were some aspects that didn't look very promising. And one of the factors that could cause more trouble for Tammy and Caleb is just all the uncertainty with his transfer. And it's tough to tell just how long he's going to be staying at the rehab facility in Ohio. But even if Caleb is able to transfer to the center in Kentucky soon, that doesn't mean it'll all be smooth sailing right away. And there are still some other unbelievable obstacles in their way. I mean, Tammy has lost over 300 pounds from her highest weight, which means that she can now comfortably sit in the seat of a car, but that doesn't mean that she's able to drive herself everywhere quite yet. And according to a different source who also spoke to The Sun, Tammy is only just starting to make progress with driving, and it's been a long time since she was able to safely drive on her own, which leads us to another hurdle that could be creating even more stress in her marriage, and it's pretty surprising stuff. So Tammy might have to rely on her family if she wants to make the 7-hour drive to visit Caleb in Ohio, and even if he can transfer, there will still be a 30-minute trip standing in their way, but that's just the surface level of a much deeper issue, because neither of them are fully self-sufficient right now. And at the rehab center, there was around-the-clock medical care available, and obviously there's a lot at stake after the weight loss, surgery, and I can't even imagine trying to prepare for what it could be, basically unpredictable. And there are so many possible complications involved with or without the need for 24-hour care. So is Caleb going to be needing constant medical care for a while? I mean, even if he doesn't, there's still another important question about their situation. Will Tammy and Caleb both be able to live relatively independently anytime soon? Because despite how positive their relationship might be, relying on other people will almost always bring up some frustrations, and that leads to another potentially overwhelming problem, and that's that Caleb and Tammy have never lived together on their own in an actual home setting before. And honestly, their whirlwind romance could be a recipe for disaster, because it could cause so many troubles that you guys would just never believe. And that is that if Caleb and Tammy might not know each other all that well yet, and they haven't really experienced a whole lot together, and I'm still blown away by how confident they seem to be that 3 weeks of dating was enough to know that they truly wanted to get married. And there's obviously a lot that Tammy and Caleb still have to learn about each other, and not everything is going to be positive, and they could uncover some unknown details about each other, and those might end up being deal breakers. And after all, many viewers don't have a lot of faith in Caleb for a pretty weird reason. So a lot of people have disliked Caleb right from the start, and that's partially because of his very strange confession. And it's just so weird that Caleb decided to go to the same facility after hearing that Tammy was living there. And Caleb's true intentions with Tammy have been questioned ever since he entered her life. And there are people who still don't trust him and think he's just using her for money or fame. And I can only imagine that that's led to at least some type of unexpected argument or drama. And after all, it's not just us fans who are weirded out by Caleb's kind of stalkerish behavior, but even Tammy's family had some concerns about him too. And I feel like that might have planted some small seeds of doubt in her mind at one point or another. And from what we've heard about their current status of their marriage, it seems like those little issues have become major problems in basically no time. And there are a shocking number of reasons why Tammy and Caleb's marriage might just not work out in the end. And it'll be interesting to see what the show reveals about what's really been happening behind the scenes. But anyway, what do you guys think about all this? I mean, do you think that they're still married? And what do you think about Caleb not prioritizing his facility transfer? Guys, let me know in the comments down below.